Good day, everyone. My name is Christian P. Momo from Greater Precision, and I am here to present to you about an educational vlog for Glossary of Baking Terms. So let's begin. Bake. To cook by dry heat, especially in an oven. Butter. Butter mixture of flour and liquid with other ingredients such as leavening agents, shortening, sugar, salt, eggs, and various flavorings. Used to make baked goods and other food products. Beat. In cooking, the term refers to the act of mixing of stirring ingredients rapidly until they are blended. For example, egg whites can be beaten until they are light. Ma! Ma'am, si. Nasturya na kita din. Ganun ka, aning ma'am. Good day, everyone. My name is Christian P. Momo from Greater Precision, and I am here to present you about an educational vlog for Glossary of Baking Terms. Let's begin. Bake. To cook dry heat, especially in an oven. Butter. Butter mixture of flour and liquid with other ingredients such as leavening agents, shortening, sugar, salt, eggs, and various flavorings. Used to make baked goods and other food products. Beat. In cooking, the term refers to the act of mixing or stirring ingredients rapidly until they are blended. For example, egg whites can be beaten until they are light and airy and the volume has increased. And the process of combining two or more ingredients together so that they lose their individual characteristics and become smooth and uniform. For example, cake, butter is the result of dry and liquid ingredients that are blended together in a uniform mixture. Blind bake. Blind baking, also known as pre-baking, serves a number of purposes. First, you might want to blind bake a pie crust when the pie filling takes less time to cook than the crust itself. Boil. The process of heating liquid to the temperature at which it will begin to transform into a gaseous state, which is 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius. When water is boiled at sea level. In cooking, it is easy to tell when a liquid reaches the boiling point because gas bubbles appears on the surface of the liquid and steam rises from the cooking vessel. Batch. To make a large number of cakes at the same time, especially in order to freeze some for future use. Caramelization, a term most often applied to the process of melting sugar either as a basic substance or to melt it when it is contained within a food. Brown sugar is often caramelized to use as a topping on ham, while white sugar is caramelized to use as a topping for desserts such as creme brulee. Combine the blending of two or more food ingredients to create a mixture. This can be accomplished by mixing the ingredients manually or through use of an electric blender or food processor. Cream. The fatty liquid that is contained within milk produced by animals prior to being homogenized, the cream rises to the top of the milk since it is lighter in weight. Chop. The process of cutting foods into fine or coarse cut pieces. Onions, carrots, sweet, peppers, celery, tomatoes, and potatoes are all examples of foods that are coarsely chopped to be added to stews and chili. Coat. Coat, covering a food with or dipping it into an ingredient such as flour or sauce. To cover with a thin layer of flour, sugar, nuts, crumbs, seeds, or spices, coats a spoon. The phrase refers to the stage of cooking a sauce or custard. When it is thick and forms a film on a metal spoon. Consistency. Food like puddings and gravies need to be the correct consistency, that is, the right thickness or texture for the dish. It would not be good, for example, for gravy to have the consistency of cottage cheese. Cool. To let food stand at room temperature until it is no longer warm to the touch. Crimp. The process of pressing together the side and top crust of a pie, usually by pinching the pastry together in a fluted pattern. Drizzle refers to the process of pouring a very fine stream of liquid such as melted butter or a sugar glaze over food for decorative purposes and or to add flavor. Dust refers to the process of lightly sprinkling a fine layer of a powdered or granulated ingredient onto food. For example, a cake may be dusted with sugar, powdered sugar, or spices as a final decoration or to add flavor. Dust can also refer to the process of dusting a pan with flour in preparation for cooking. Frost, the process of warming food that has been frozen so that the food can be eaten or prepared to be served. Dilute refers to the process of thinning a liquid by adding more liquid and or reducing the flavor by adding liquid. Dip, a mixture of ingredients that complements other foods such as raw vegetables, chips, or toast a, with are dipped into it. A dip can be prepared with sour cream, softened cheese, or mayonnaise with herbs and spices added. Dissolve. The process of combining one ingredient with another to form a solution. For example, sugar will dissolve in water to form a solution. To melt or liquefy a solid ingredient such as chocolate or sugar. Dough, a mixture of flour, a leavening agent, and a small amount of liquid. Ingredients that forms a mass which is thick but pliable. Dough is kneaded by hand or a machine formed into loaves or rolls in baked to produce bread or pastry. Essence, other kits that contain vials of representative flavor essence of wine, or a term used at times by wineries to describe a late harvest sweet red wine. Fermentation, a chemical reaction in which carbohydrates are broken down into carbon dioxide, gas, and alcohol. Fold in. In cooking, if you fold in an ingredient or fold it into the other ingredients, you mix it very gently into the other ingredients. Gelatinization. Starch gelatinization is a process of breaking down the intermolecular bonds of starch molecules in the presence of water and heat, allowing the hydrogen bonding sites, the hydroxyl hydrogen and oxygen to engage more water. Grease, a term used to describe soft or rendered animal fat or animal fat products such as lard or butter. It is used as an ingredient to prepare many different food dishes as well as a preparation method when it is applied to skillets and pans that will be heated so food remains unattached and is easily moved from the bottom of the cooking surface. Glaze. A glaze may also refer to foods that are coated with substances to give them a more substantial coating, such as a covering of chocolate. Hydration. Hydration in bread baking terms means how much water or liquid there is a given amount of flour or the ratio of water to flour weight. More water means a higher hydration or wetter dough. Incorporate. It means to lightly mix it into the batter. For example, you don't want to overmix or overwork the batter, just lightly stir it with a spatula or spoon. Knead. A method of mixing pliable dough by stretching, folding, and pushing in order to form gluten in the flour. The gluten is required to proper bread rising as it forms elastic strands that keep the gases in the dough, enabling the dough to rise. Melt. To apply heat to change a food from a solid to a liquid such as butter or chocolate. Mix. To stir two or more ingredients until mixture is thoroughly combined and uniform in texture. Mold. A hollow, a hollow or open formed utensil used to give shape to the food substance placed into the shape mold. Molds are used to give specific shapes to food such as candies, chocolate, mints, bread, cakes, and gelatin, desserts, or salads. Peel to remove the skin or rind from a fruit or vegetable. Pinch to add a tiny amount, about 1 to 16 teaspoon of a dry ingredient such as salt. The amount should be able to be held between the thumb and forefinger. Preheat. Setting an oven or broiler to the desired cooking temperature in advance of using it so that it has time to reach the desired temperature before putting the food into be cooked. Proof. Proofing is a step in bread and Glossary baking that activates the yeast in the dough during fermentation. The yeast cells in leavened doughs, such as bread dough or pasta dough, consume carbohydrates and expel the carbon dioxide gas that causes the dough to expand or rise. Punch down. To deflate fully risen dough by using your fist to press down in the center of the dough, forcing the air out before shaping it. Scrape. A kitchen utensils A kitchen utensil with a handle and a square beveled blade that is used to scrape, cut, and section ingredients. When working with dough, also referred to as a bench knife or pastry scraper. A dough scraper enables the baker to cut rolled dough into separate size pieces. Cleanly scrape any excess dough of the working surface and measure amounts of dough if measurements are imprinted on the blade to keep the food being prepared consistent in size. Sift. To pass an ingredient such as powdered sugar through a sieve or sifter to make smooth and lumps free. Scald. Scald. To heat liquid to just below the boiling point until tiny bubbles from around the edge. Score. To cut shallow slashes along the surface of meat to tenderize. The peel of a vegetable such as cucumbers can also be scored for a decorative look. Sieve. To strain, drain, to, to strain dry or wet ingredients through the holes of a strainer or sieve, removing seeds from raspberry jam. Simmer. To cook foods gently in a liquid at a low temperature at just below the boiling point. Tiny bubbles appear on the surface. And that's all for today, and thank you guys for listening. Bye, stay safe.